I spent about half of the 2020s hosting a podcast called Delayed Replay, recapping and reviewing movies that came out on time in my universe but got delayed in that other universe. And as such, the movies as they were in my universe came out differently. Some listeners not of this universe even think that this is an improvised comedy podcast. And hey, let them think what they want. It's entertaining either way, right? I'm Steven Shinder, and you're listening to Delayed Replay Season 6. Hashtag 6 seasons about movies. New episode every other Saturday. Unless I say otherwise. Hey everyone, so I think it takes a while for us to say that this episode is about Black Phone 2. But yeah, that's what the episode is. Dylan and I talk about Black Phone 2, so without further delay, enjoy the show.
Recording
Okay.
in progress.
Yeah. I guess that means that the recording is in progress.
Really? So I shouldn't drop some swears right now. I shouldn't just start dropping an absurd amount of swear words. I just realized I didn't get my microphone out for this, and I'm just using my built-in microphone. Hopefully the audio sounds okay.
Oh yeah, it sounds pretty good actually.
Okay, well that's good. We'll just stick with that then.
Okay. And okay, yeah, I'm using the correct mic. Maybe I'll just keep all this in and just bleep out the swears to make it funny. I don't know. Um, but what's been happening recently is um I can't find like the sound effect very quickly of like the actual bleep that people use for swear words. So I've been using like a sort of phone ringing noise, which I guess is very appropriate for this one. But okay, I'll introduce us. Hey everyone, welcome to Delayed Replay, that podcast where we recap and review movies that got delayed in that other universe but came out on time in our universe. I'm your host, Steven Shinder, and joining the show once again to talk about Black Phone 2 this time, it is Dylan Green. How's it hanging?
It's hanging, boys. It's hanging low and steady.
Yeah, that low-hanging fruit, you know.
I mean, look, if the low-hanging fruit's there, you got to go for it, right?
I mean, yeah, what do they expect us to do? Like, learn to climb trees?
Yeah, forget that. I can barely even climb the stairs. You want me to climb trees? Pfft, no.
Yeah. I hear that, brother. But yeah.
Why, why did the intonation you put on that make it sound like you were saying I hear that brother and not I hear that brother? You know what I mean?
I mean, I don't know. Does the slight difference, like, I don't know. Does a slight difference have a different effect depending on how it comes out?
I don't know, man. I'm just dropping truth bombs, okay?
Well, that's the best type of bomb, objectively speaking.
As opposed to, other kinds of bombs like
Yeah.
nuclear.
Yeah, except maybe bath bombs. Those seem like they're pretty cool.
Seem like Did- have you not ever used a bath bomb?
I mean, obviously I haven't, given that in one of my released books, a bath bomb turns someone into a monster.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I read that one.
Yeah.
Dang, I had totally actually forgotten about that until you mentioned that. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, I'm just dropping all the lore bombs right now, I guess. But yeah, so I guess before getting into the sequel, what's been your experience with phones in general, Dylan?
With phones, um, actually. When we moved to America from South Africa, my parents had an actual landline. We had a landline, and we had that for a while. I want to say it was like 2015 by the time we took the landline out. And then, well, I've had a cell phone since I don't know. I got my first cell phone in middle school. It was a dumb phone. It was a Nokia brick. Then I got a BlackBerry, and then I got an iPhone when I was in sophomore year of high school, maybe.
Yeah, so it sounds like you've had at least one black phone throughout your life, you know?
Actually, all of my iPhones, the very first one I got, which was the 3G, was black, but pretty much every phone since like my iPhone 4S has been white. Although the screen is black, I guess, when it's off. But I've actually had a white iPhone for as long as it's been possible to have a white iPhone.
Yeah, I got my first cell phone in middle school as well. It was one of those flip phones. I think it was like dark gray. And then at some point I switched to one of those Galaxy phones and then the iPhone and then now iPhone XR, which I think all of those were black. Um, but yeah, phone calls are pretty scary, man. Like, I don't know about you, but I prefer a text over a phone call these days.
Um, did you say you prefer phone call over text?
No, the other way around.
Okay. I was like, did I have a stroke? That sentence didn't end the way it started. Um, I mean, I'm okay with with making phone calls. It's not my favorite thing to do. I've gotten better at it recently, because, well, I don't really know why. I think at some point I was just like, I think I just gotta um, take the plunge. You never get anything if you don't ask for it, you know? Because most of my phone, I say that because most of my phone calls are like, I don't know, calling the doctor's office and being like, "Hey, can you do this thing? Or can I get in a an appointment?" It's very rare that I have to call someone that's not uh, the doctor's office. Unless you count this, I guess.
Yeah, true. Like this does count as a call. Yeah, I feel like with phone calls, I have to be on really good, like it has to be someone I know well enough for me to not feel bothered about it. And yeah, there are those obligatory, like, have to call the doctor about something or have to call like a venue or something to ask questions before actually going to the place if one has questions. But yeah, I don't know. It's just that sometimes there are like these spam calls and it's like, who are you even, you know?
What, your iPhone doesn't tell you that it's a call from Scam Likely?
You know,
That's my
yeah,
favorite feature.
yeah, like scam likely. Like I don't know how that person has so many phone numbers.
Yeah, Mr. Scam Likely calls me all the time, I gotta say.
Yeah. So Black Phone, like the first one, the first movie was based on a short story by Joe Hill. And I've actually read some of his comics that were released by IDW and I think DC. Like he's done Lock and Key. He's done trying to see like oh yeah, he did Basket Full of Heads and I think there was another one that had Lake in the title. I can't remember what the full title is, but yeah, like pretty good like horror vibe and some of that stuff. What's weird is in our universe, you know, the first movie came out but instead of going straight to theaters, like they had this weird thing where he had to actually call a number and he would listen to the movie instead of actually watching it. And I guess to give you that phone experience that Finney has in a way, like the character in the movie.
Transmitted over phone line. Before we continue, I'm not misremembering, right? Joe Hill is Stephen King's son, right? He said Nepo baby. Joe Hill, sorry.
I, yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah.
is.
So this
His
is
name's
the
actually Joe
Joe
Joseph
King.
Hillstrom King, and he
Yeah,
goes by
this.
Joe Hill. Wow. Wow. Nepo baby.
Damn, I feel like there's a King of the Hill joke in there somewhere.
Yeah, we're not smart enough to find it, I guess.
Yeah. The new season was pretty good, as I've told you and Keon recently.
Yeah, not that I've ever watched any episode of any iteration of King of the Hill, but it's fine, I guess.
Yeah. You're like, I've never seen it, but I guess it's fine.
I mean, that's all I can say on it, right? Guess it was fine. As someone who's obviously an expert in the topic.
Right, exactly. So, what did you think of the first movie? Like, how much did you like it? What were your, I don't know, takeaways or whatever? Like, what was your experience?
Yeah, I mean, the first movie was pretty good. Like you mentioned, we had to listen to it over the phone, so I didn't get any visuals. But then when it came to home media release, you get the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray had, it was a movie. It was footage. So it was like weird seeing that later in preparation for the second one. I cracked it open and watched it. I was like, this is really weird that like there's this whole like visual component here that was like just not even used in the original release. But I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it's pretty scary um, for what it is. I would say. Um, I don't know how it measures up to the second one. The second one was kind of a major departure in both tone and content, which I'm sure we're going to get into. But like, what did you think of the first one? What is your what's your impression there?
Yeah, listening to it over the phone, it kind of made me feel a bit nostalgic, for the days when like I mean, this only happened with like one thing, but when like as a kid, I think my sister had like this cassette tape that was like some scary story type thing, which I have no idea like what the title was. It's kind of bothered me that I don't know what it was called, but I remember at like age 5 or whatever, it like the voice acting and the music like sounded scary enough. And I do wonder like if I were to find it and listen to it today, would it just feel kind of silly and goofy and not that scary? But yeah, like this uh experience of like listening to the movie on the phone kind of gave that unique vibe of like, whoa, this is like I'm not seeing like what I'm hearing and it's like pretty scary.
Hmm.
And when it came out on home video, yeah, I do remember there were also like limited edition VHSs of it. And I guess that foreshadowed how there would be like a short film and that movie, that anthology movie VHS 85, which had a short film called Dream Kill, which was supposed to be in like the same universe. Um, but yeah, pretty weird how the second movie seems to forget some of the stuff that happened in like previously.
Yeah, speaking of the VHS, yeah, that's a good thing you brought that up. I think this is the last movie that was ever released on VHS, or at least the most recent. I guess they're trying to revive the format. Really gives you that period piece aesthetic, with the phones and the VHS. For the second one, they did sign, something similar to the phone thing, where if if you phone them um, on an authentic, on an actual payphone, you could listen to the movie for free. You wouldn't need to go to the movie theater, but well, free, relative speaking, it's a payphone and all that,
Yeah,
but
pay is in the name.
um, but like, they're really trying to give you that period piece aesthetic.
So in this one, the first movie took place in 1978, and for Black Phone 2, it's 1982. And yeah, they dropped the from the title. Like the first one was The Black Phone, this one's just Black Phone 2. I don't know how I feel about that, honestly.
Look, it's so that they could be hip with the kids.
Yeah, drop the, so it's not the Facebook. It's cleaner.
Nice reference. Aren't they making a sequel to that too? They can drop the on that as well and make it just social network
Oh
too.
my gosh.
That would actually be Kino, to quote Keon.
I mean, yeah, like I remember hearing they might be making a sequel to that. I don't think they would like I don't know, like would the sequel, I guess it depends on who's making it, but like would they delve into like how bad stuff is with like Facebook?
I don't know. I think Aaron Sorkin is writing and angling to direct it as well. So, but no offense to Sorkin, but Sorkin is no David Fincher.
David Fincher, director of Alien 3.
The best alien movie, obviously.
I'd say fourth best, maybe.
Fourth best, maybe.
Yeah, behind Alien, Prometheus, and Romulus.
Fascinating top three. Honestly, fascinating top three. You could have given me 100 guesses to guess your top three, and I don't think that's what would have come out. But I mean, I know you don't like aliens um,
Well, I think
as
Aliens is,
much.
yeah, Aliens is okay, but the like I don't know if I've told you this, but the military soldier characters I find kind of annoying and some parts feel just too generic action movie to me, and even the music feels too much like a movie. Like it feels like such a departure from the first movie.
And that's why it's good.
Well, Black Phone 2 was a departure from the first movie, but was that good?
Yes. Yeah, got him. Yeah,
Really
you thought.
contradicting yourself here.
No, I'm not. I'm being entirely self-consistent that if it's different from the previous one, it's good. Yeah, I mean, all right, let's get into it, The opening of the movie using one of the lesser known Beatles songs, Why Don't We Do It in the Road? A classic, I might add, about a monkey, top-notch filmmaking. And they accompany this with imagery of a monkey. That's just, I think, one of the greatest openings of all time for a movie.
Yeah, I don't know. This felt really out of left field here.
What do you mean you
And
don't know? I just made a definitive statement that it's one of the best openings of all time.
well, let's agree to disagree.
No, I'm gonna disagree to agree, actually. I'm just in a fighting mood today, all right?
What happened, Dylan? Who hurt you this morning?
Who knows? Who knows?
But yeah, there's like this weird imagery at the start, which I guess is supposed to keep us on our toes and be like, this is not going to go the way that you think or whatever. It shows the year in giant, text, more giant than it needed to be, honestly. Like it was like some of it was out of frame going beyond the screen or whatever. So that's like super zoomed in on. Yeah, weird choice to have a 60s song in an 80s movie, but again, it's just trying to disorient you.
I mean, are you going to tell me you don't still listen to music from 20 years ago? Be honest now. 20 years ago was 2005. You're not listening to like
I mean, I'm not
Britney
saying
Spears anymore?
I mean I did watch Robots earlier this year, so there's that,
See,
but
see.
it has that Britney Spears song in it. But yeah,
Wait, which Britney Spears song is in Robots? It's been literally decades since I watched Robots.
the Hit Me Baby One More Time one.
Uh, yep, okay.
Yeah, but what I'm saying though is that I'm not saying people in the 80s don't listen to music in the 60s. I'm saying that usually when a movie is set in a certain year, they'll play stuff that's closer to that year. Sometimes even anachronistically, like stuff that's like came out a year or two after the movie came out for some reason or takes place for some reason.
Yeah, and that's why it's good actually to play music that's like 20 years old because that's more realistic to what people in the 80s would be listening to.
Well, speaking of realistic, Finney is a few years older, as we would expect from the
Thank
passing of
God.
time. Well, you
Thank
didn't like
God.
it? You didn't like his acting in the first movie?
No, he was fine. I was just making a joke about how it would like be terrible if they just pretended that like the movie was set like 6 years later or something, but that he hadn't aged at all.
Right. But yeah, so it's we're following Finney and he's like, talking with his sister and stuff. Just very conventional, everything is okay type of opening scene. But they did this thing where they tried to do some fake jump scares, like when he opens a fridge, there's a sound effect, and really it's just like he sees something in the fridge. He wasn't expecting like a jar of chili peppers or whatever. So, yeah, I don't know. What'd you think of the jump scare fake outs here?
It's like a meta jump scare in a way, if you think about it. You thought we were going to jump scare you? Ha! Tricked you. I mean, a jump scare is inherently tricking the audience. Um, so, doing something like that is like sort of taking it to the meta level. I was particularly fond of the one with the ice pick, where the grabber shows up for the first time and he's holding that ice pick and it looks like he's about to like stab Finney in the neck. Not that the grabber is like, as we learn later, real, at least corporeal, I should say, but like it looks like he's gonna stab him and then it cuts away and then it fake jump scares you where you think he's hiding in the background but it's not him, it's just a hockey stick and like a coat in the background, and then you cut back to the grabber and he's just stabbing a block of ice. First off, absolute keynote. Second off, it plays so well into the themes of this movie. What do you think?
Yeah, they had moments like this, like, the grabber looking like he's gonna stab him, and it seems like he's in the same location, but really he's in a different one and just stabbing something else. And honestly, I was getting annoyed at this point. I was like, this is not why I come out to the movies, man.
Look, I come to the movies to watch people break ice. The
Oh no,
best part of Frozen is the opening where they're breaking the ice and they have the ice song, which is the best song in the movie, bar none.
okay, I thought you were gonna quote the Nicole Kidman thing.
No.
Also, I don't know if this happened at your screening, but at my screening, before the movie started, it showed the cast sitting around, looking at the camera and thanking the audience for coming to the movies. And people around me were like booing at that part because they just wanted to see the movie. Was it like that for you?
Um, I was actually the only guy in my screening. So I mentally booed, let's say that, but I was the only guy. There, I saw it at like 10 in the morning, you know? The best time to watch horror movies.
Yeah, because you've had your breakfast and you're just up for the challenge of seeing if you can keep your stomach full.
Yeah, just trying to keep it in my stomach. I had to go visit a massage therapist after my screening too, so like after I saw that gore, I was on pretty thin ice. No pun intended. And then I was at the massage therapist and I was like, "Oh boy, this is going to get a little spicy. I might throw up." Did I? Did I not? I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, real Schrodinger's vomit right there.
Yep.
You mentioned the ice, so we might as well like break the ice and get right to it. So Finney is feeling kind of bored with life, surviving an incident like what happened in the first movie, you would think would make his life better, but now he has this weird complex where he's like, man, things aren't as thrilling and exciting anymore. So he just wanders off to this place where it's just snow and ice, and there's this building with graffiti on it, and a payphone, and it rings. And what'd you think of his reaction to the payphone here?
Look, this is another one of those fake out jump scares because they cut it like you're going to see the grabber on the phone, but no, it's actually just a monkey. See, bringing back that opening scene, this is why it's so brilliant, why the movie works on such a deep level. Just a monkey going "Eek, eek, woo, woo, ah, eek, eek, eek," all over the phone. Finney's like, "What? Why? How did you call this phone? What's going on?" And right when he puts the phone down, you just hear in the background, "I'm coming." And that's like, wow, it was done so well. I was sitting alone in the theater. The sound editing like really caught me off guard. I was like, "What? What's this? Us? Is this someone else? Someone else here? Who was that?" Um, I mean, and then his acting, man, he has really improved as an actor. I mean, we were joking about it earlier. He was all right in the Black Phone, but here in Black Phone 2, he's he's really upped his acting chops. That time doing literally everything else between then and now, um, top notch.
Yeah, he really dialed it up here, you know.
Wow, damn it.
Yeah, the sound mixing was pretty good, I must admit. Like you said, it's like the voice feels like it's right there behind you or like over your shoulder or something. And so now he's like, well, do I wait here and see what happens, or do I try to like get out of here and get help? And if I do, like, how am I gonna get help? So yeah, they kind of do this thing where you don't really know what to expect to happen next. Like he steps on thin ice and you expect it to break, but instead it just turns into a giant hill for some reason.
Yeah, and what about that thought to go to the casino for help? I mean, this is, it's not a small town. It's reasonably sized. There's a police station, there's a hotel, there are plenty of places. How do we feel about the decision to go to the casino looking for people? I mean, I thought it caught me off guard. I guess like you were saying, this movie liked to do that to really hide from you like where is it going? Um, and so that sort of played into that. I was very surprised by it.
Yeah, I get the vibe that the movie is trying to go with a you shouldn't trust every police officer type of message. Like I don't know. It kind of felt like they were trying to do that in this movie. He's like, should I go to the police? Nah, I can't trust them. I'll go to a casino instead. It's like, I don't know. It just feels very not super well thought out the way they convey this. It's just kind of there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense because I guess there are security guards at the casino. But like, what why are those the people you seek out for help first? Pretty unexpected and kind of wild, actually.
Yeah. And, when he's in the casino, I could, even though this isn't like a 4D movie or whatever, I could almost smell the awful scent of cigarettes in this casino. Like
Dang, man, how
it
many
just,
casinos have you been to?
it just looks awful. I've been to like a couple and it's like, yeah, casinos suck in my opinion. I like the buffet
Yeah.
though. The buffet's pretty good.
Yeah, casinos not great. I stayed in the Treasure Island once. That casino, wow. I mean, okay. Yeah, at least in present day, in current year, smoking in casinos is banned, at least in Vegas. But Treasure Island is like the only casino where you could still smoke in the room on the casino floor, so it smelled pretty bad. So I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Kids, don't smoke and don't gamble. Don't say yes, say casino.
That's what Finney should have been thinking when he was looking for help.
Yeah, but like in this casino, he randomly sees what turns out to be the supervisor of the Alpine Lake camp, played by Demian. How do you pronounce this last name? Bichir or Bichir or something. Um, So yeah, he kind of confides, he kind of talks to him about what's going on, and then they sort of have a back and forth. But I kind of feel like this convo kind of went nowhere, honestly.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm reading the IPA on how to pronounce his name on Wikipedia. It looks like it has like a hard T sound and then an SH. Bitshir, something like that.
Okay.
Um, anyway, yeah, it kind of didn't go anywhere. Um, it seemed to be setting something up. Kind of, like when they reveal that he was a table games dealer at the casino, sort of as a his second job. You started to think maybe it was going to tie in with the casino arc. It was going to explain why Finney went to the casino for help at first, but
Y-
then they don't really capitalize on that.
Yeah, in a way, it kind of feels like this movie is trying to illustrate how no matter what year it is, people struggle to make ends meet and therefore need to get a second job. And so it's trying to say this stuff about how the world works, doing this weird thing of taking a detour in a casino for a chunk of the movie and like trying to say something about how the world really works. Yeah, you don't really see that all that often.
So after running to the casino for help and getting a security guard, Finney decides, um, that his great next move is to go home to his sister, whose name I don't remember, Gwen.
Gwen. Yeah.
Um,
And their dad's name is Terrence.
Terrence had a much smaller role in this movie than I thought he was going to. Um,
Yeah, honestly, it felt like his scenes were shot in isolation from the others, almost like there were scheduling conflicts.
I love that scene where he's like supposed to be talking to Finney, and he's clearly like his eye line is clearly looking at just some guy off camera that's
Yeah.
not anything like the right height for Finney. Finney is sitting down in the scene on a couch. Like, what was going on with that? Nobody caught
Yeah.
that in editing.
Well, hey, you know how we would not have caught this is if we had listened to the movie on a phone.
True, true. We should have experienced the movie, the moving the moving picture the way the creator intended through audio only.
Exactly. Big Finish. We love stories. We have this little family argument, they're trying to be like, Finny, shut up. The grabber is gone. He died. You're being insane. You need to be the sanest person here right now.
Which is kind of a weird statement to make because like clearly the person who went through all this trauma in the
Yeah,
past would
they're like,
not like by
stop being traumatized.
yeah, have you just tried like not being traumatized, dude? Like
Yeah.
10 out of 10 works every time. Yeah, kind of an insane move to be honest.
Yeah. So that night, he gets grounded for not acting sane enough and still being traumatized. Because I guess being traumatized gets you grounded or something.
Being
Uh,
traumatized is a an offense punishable by jail time, you know.
yeah. So in a way, he got off easily here. So, he's trying to sleep, and this is another one of those horror movie things where you're like, is he dreaming or is he not? And he sees a moving figure and, he follows it and it looks like um uh I forget the character's name. Robin's brother, one of the grabbers victims, but yeah, like
Oh, yeah. What's his name?
yeah, it's played by Miguel Mora in this.
Charles. I think his name was Charles.
Okay, yeah. Charles.
Great name.
Yeah. Almost as good as Charlie.
And the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah. This is a tangent, but the 2005 Charlie and the Chocolate Factory film is actually closer to the book than one might think.
Yeah, I've heard you make this point before, and I don't know. I do like the newer one better than the old one. I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, the Chalamet one? Yeah, that one was weird.
Not I don't like that one more. Damn it.
But yeah, so he follows Charles and then a door opens and the grabber just jump out in another jump scare type of moment. And and then Finney like gets up from his bed and like it's morning and he's like, what the hell happened?
Yeah, maybe Finney's experiencing a little bit of a double life.
Oh,
Spoilers.
yeah, and that perhaps that's why they put the two in the title.
Yeah, because there's two of them now. Let's go.
Yeah.
Absolute Kino.
What's the actual definition of Kino? Like I can gather like how it's used from context clues, but what's the actual definition?
Um, it just means like it's just a word that literally means like film
Oh, okay.
or movie.
Like
It's just another word for movie.
okay. Yeah, I
Don't
get.
ask me for the etymology.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. It's not a physics question, so I get you. Yeah.
Dictionary.com, Kino definition in Europe, movie theater.
Okay. But speaking of theaters, Finney is really questioning the theater of his mind and whether he can trust what he sees. So he really
Yeah.
feels like he's not the sanest person here.
Some might argue he's the Insanest. The unsanest.
Yeah,
Insanest. Unsanest.
yeah, he's just looking for that serenity, but it's just really tough to find it in these trying times.
Well, I don't blame Finney for this. Look, life is hard. Things are difficult. He doesn't want to like try and figure everything out. I respect it.
Just ignore everything that's eating at you.
Exactly. Just just bury it deep. Actually, if you feel pain, just ignore it until it goes away. That works for both physical and emotional pain. And yeah, this never fails.
Right. Um, so we cut to 6 months later. So he's gone through 6 months of trying to ignore all of this, but evidently he cannot, especially when yet another phone rings and he picks it up. And who is it but his own voice on the other side?
6 month time skip is crazy, by the way, for a
Yeah, what?
horror movie in the
Yeah,
middle of
what?
the movie.
Yeah, why is it always six? Like, you
If
know?
I ever make a movie, there's going to be a time skip that's going to be like 3 months and 26 days or something like that.
Yeah. Or you've seen that recent film Monkey, right?
Yeah, the monkey.
Based on a Stephen King story.
Yeah.
That one had like a 25 years later midway through.
Oh, yeah. Damn. That, okay, okay. I don't want to take us down too much of a tangent, but that like caught me so off guard how late in the movie that happened. Like I genuinely
Yeah.
thought more of the movie was going to be about them as adults, and it was like it was not.
Well, as kids or as adults?
I
Like,
expected there would be more of the movie as adults, that like the 25 years later was going to happen like 10
oh,
minutes into the
okay.
movie, but it was like fully like 30 to 45 had to have been.
Because of like the trailer showing
Yeah,
them as
I
a,
think
okay.
so.
Yeah, I don't think I saw the trailer. I just put on the movie and like just let it wash over me. Um, I think I'm in the minority of preferring it over Long Legs, which is by the same director, but
I also prefer it over long legs, so
okay.
you and I
Yeah.
are in the same boat on that one.
Yeah, we are two sides of the same lid of a soup can.
What?
Two sides of the same lid of a soup can?
What?
So you know what soup is, right?
No. What is soup?
Okay, well, we are getting too far off topic. It'll take too much time to
But
explain soup.
what? But
But
what is soup? You can't just say that and not explain it.
you're right. I'm not David Lynch, so I can't get away with that. So, soup is, I guess you like put and put some food in it and then cook it and then put it in a bowl. It can have like vegetables and some like if you're into it, like put meat in it as well, and you just eat it. Uh, People usually eat it hot. I sometimes like it cold if it's in hot weather, but um, yeah, that's soup.
Huh. Sounds pretty bad, to be honest.
Well, speaking of bad, I thought that the way they tried making this feel like it was a conversation between two people was done pretty badly.
I mean, this is the climax of the movie, right? We're sitting down, we're watching the climax where uh, He's talking with his alternate self on the phone. We've seen we've seen everything leading up to this moment. Turns out Finney in his double life, the other version of him became the new grabber. The grabber became like a mantle that gets passed on. And well, it's kind of hard to believe anything that's going on because the like editing is so chaotic, so cataclysmically bad that I couldn't tell what was going on. I actually had to piece this together later. Still likes the movie, um, but man, this scene was all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, after watching the film, when I got home, I had to Google Black Phone 2 ending explained.
Wow, you became one of those people.
I mean, look, I feel like it's warranted when the ending of a film is just so all over the place that you don't know what's going on, you know? It's not like I just watched Toy Story 1 and am Googling what do they mean when they say th they have a puppy now, you know?
What do they mean?
Oh, is that a real question?
I don't know, is it?
I don't know. This is basically how the conversation on the phone goes between them. Like they're just all these confusing questions, and it's just yeah. But his alternate self, who has become the grabber, um, I don't know if they ever really explain in full how it happened, but I guess the grabber got like Finney's like I don't know, like he got a strand of hair from his head, and from that was able to create another Finney, and basically like the grabber's soul possesses the new Finney or something.
Yeah, he's transcended the mortal plane. I mean, these movies have a what's the word? I'm totally blanking on the word now. Well, they have a like mystical element to them.
Yeah, it's pretty surreal. So eventually, you know, they schedule on this phone call, they schedule a time and place to have a showdown against each other. What'd you think of the place that they chose to do this?
Oh, you mean the abandoned baseball field? Yeah, pretty weird actually. Don't know why there was a baseball field out here and at the whatchamacallit, this winter camp they were at. I mean, grass is all frozen. Um, kind of wild. I mean, this is like the fourth movie we've had this year that has a showdown at the baseball field. Not sure if that was planned or not. Um,
Yeah, and I guess this place is just always frozen or something. It gives you that eerie feeling of like this place is not like other places.
Finney grabs like a baseball. Finney one grabs a baseball bat.
Yeah, and the song Eye of the Tiger is also playing because that song came out in 1982.
Yeah, crazy music choice again.
So they keep cutting between them, you know, as they're staring each other down to the point where I'm wondering, like, wait, which Finney is this? It's just, you know, the editing is pretty piss poor in this scene. And not just this scene, but this is one of the scenes where it stands out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that the rights to Eye of the Tiger probably cost quite literally an arm and a leg to get. Probably cost a huge amount of the budget, but that's fine. It's fine. Why not? Once again, the editing is atrocious. I don't know who's who. I don't know who's winning. I don't know who's losing. Obviously, though, at the end, because it's a horror movie, good Finney's gonna win. He's gonna defeat the grabber. But there is there is that little doubt in the back of your mind that the grabber could come back.
Yeah, because, once they finish this whole showdown thing and the bad Finny is like all beat up into oblivion or whatever, we see the good Finny, walking away from the field and he's like going back home. And then we get this text that says 22 years later. So I guess it's like 2004 or something, or maybe five. And we see adult fit, much older Finney talking on a cell phone, and then he hangs up and stares into the camera menacingly, and then cuts to credits.
Yeah, notice also that in this universe, 9/11 hasn't happened, as you can see the Twin Tower, the window in the back. I don't know if you noticed that. Kind of an interesting creative decision there. Kind of seems to imply that the existence of the grabber, like for some reason, prevented 9/11 from happening.
I mean, I don't know. I also kind of wonder if maybe this is suggesting that Finney somehow entered an alternate world, or like maybe either he or his alternate self are from a world where historical events are different. I don't know, it's super confusing. It kind of feels like they just threw this stuff in just to, mess with the audience's heads and get them to speculate.
And it's working. I mean, listen to us right now. What are we doing right now? We're playing right into their hands like fools.
Oh, damn, you're right. What have we become?
An empire of dirt. That's not the next line of that song, but it is a line in that song.
My empire of dirt.
You delivered it a lot better than I did, to be honest.
Yeah. Do you prefer the Nine Inch Nails version or the Johnny Cash version?
I heard the Johnny Cash version first, so I'm gonna have to go with that.
I prefer the Nine Inch Nails version because it feels more raw.
I see. Although along the same lines, I prefer the original Simon and Garfunkel Sound of Silence.
I prefer Yes's version of the song America over the Paul Simon or Simon and Garfunkel one.
I don't even know if I could like conjure up that tune in my head right now.
It would be pretty amazing if you could, if you were someone who's never heard it and then were somehow able to conjure it up in your head.
It's like I just learned about this the other day. I think it was a meme, so I don't know if it's true, but Ringo Starr like having an idea for a song and then telling the rest of the Beatles about it and then them being like, you know that Bob Dylan recorded that song like 3 years ago, right?
What? Oh man, that's amazing.
Again, I'm pretty sure I saw this in a meme, so I don't know if it's actually real or not.
Wait, are memes not credible all the time?
Uh, I have some news for you.
Oh no. All right. Well, was there anything else you want to bring up before we go into final thoughts and scores?
Thinking I've said everything there is to be said. Although I will say that I'm looking forward to finding my nearest payphone to listen to the audio only version.
Yeah.
Um, apparently there's a website that tells you where payphones are called the Payphone Project. Sorry, I just like wanted to look up where the nearest payphone to me is because I wasn't actually sure if it still existed. There actually seems to be quite a few in the the city that I live in now, which will remain as yet unnamed.
Right. That's the real mystery here is where Dylan lives now.
It could be anywhere. It could quite literally be anywhere
Yeah, it might not even
except
be on
Antarctica.
Earth.
That's true. It could be anywhere, but not Antarctica. But that does actually include Mars. It could be Mars, but not Antarctica.
Right. Because
So,
it's too cold there and you hate the cold in Antarctica.
yeah, my computer just doesn't work, when it's cold, so
Yeah,
bummer,
that's fair. But all right, so what are your final thoughts and score out of 10? And do you have measurement for that score for Black Phone 2?
I'm gonna go with 8 spam calls from Mr. Scam Likely out of 10. Spam calls by Mr. Scam Likely.
Dang, yeah, that's and I think for the first movie, well, I checked your Letterboxd XD earlier,
My
and
Letterboxd XD.
yeah, and you gave it like 2.5 out of 5, so 5 out of 10, I guess. So yeah, I guess you liked the second one more than the first one.
Nice. Good to
Um,
know you did your research, clearly more than I did because we had like just started this call and I was like, I'm currently reading the Wikipedia page for the previous one so I could remember what the plot was.
yeah, so you could remember how much you liked the first one.
Clearly, I loved it.
I
You
th
gave it a 4 out of 5. I'm just outing you now.
Yeah, I gave the first one an 8 out of 10. So, um, yeah, the first one I liked it more than I expected to, honestly. So that's the first one. The second one, I mean, the second one really fell short for me. It felt like it was trying to do something different, but it didn't do something different in the best way. Honestly, it feels like a cash grab when all is said and done. So I think I gotta give this one 3.5 casino slot machines
Out of 10? Out
out
of
of
5?
out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta be clear there.
Yeah, because those are pretty different scores.
Yeah, I could rate it out of 17, but I don't feel like doing the math right now.
Why would you do that anyway?
Why wouldn't one do that?
You know what? Yeah, fair enough. You know what? Fuck me, I guess, right? Like,
All right. Well, I guess that'll do it. And thanks for joining me again, Dylan. Do you have anything you want to plug, even if it's like a movie rec or TV show rec or something?
um, let's think. I watched Relay yesterday, and I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was very tense. I think I was the only person in that movie theater who enjoyed it because I saw it with a bunch of old people in the middle of the day, and they all looked very bored.
Yeah, I feel like I've probably been in that situation before.
But besides that, I thought it was very good. Um, and what else have I watched recently? Hang on, I gotta look at my calendar. Ooh, Black Swan. I watched the re-release of Black Swan, and that movie is incredible. I mean, it's the second time I've seen it. I had seen it before. Um, but yeah, that movie is incredible. I highly recommend it. And I'll just leave it there, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I've actually never seen Black Swan.
What?
I think at the time it looked like maybe too scary to me or something. I don't know.
It's I wouldn't say it's like explicitly a horror movie. I think it's more accurately classified as like a psychological thriller. There are some like very, very light body horror elements. And I say very light, like it is very, very light on that front. I do think that like when I saw it, a lot of people in the theater had not seen the movie before because the ending, if you have not seen it, the ending without saying too much is kind of like very shocking. Um, I think like when the credits were rolling, I could sense people around me were like, "What?"
Damn. So yeah, if you're not into Black Phone, check out Black Swan, I guess.
Ooh, true, good one. I didn't even think about that. Dang, nice, good one.
Right. All right. Well, thanks again. It was a fun convo, and This podcast will have another episode out in a couple weeks on a different topic. So without further delay, have a good day. Man, so while we were talking about that cash grabber of a film, I kind of wish I'd come up with a joke toward the end, given Dylan mentioned relay. And I don't know what the joke would be, like delayed relay or relay replay or without further relay, have a good day. I don't know. But anyway, my other self will talk about some other stuff been watching lately. TV and film-wise, non-spoiler stuff. But in the meantime, check out the show notes for all the socials you can follow me at, and go to stevenshinder.com for info on my novels, which I'm really trying to make time to continue. And you can also write to delayedreplaypodcast@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts on payphones. Should they bring them back? Have a resurgence? I don't know. And you can also find me on Yes Shift. That's a podcast I do with my dad where we talk about prog rock and stuff. I've been talking about a few different vinyl records recently, and we're also doing like a top 10 prog rock bands outside of Yes, reading people's lists and also reviewing the reissues of guitarist Steve Howe's albums, A Portrait of Bob Dylan, and Natural Timbre. So a bunch of stuff happening. Also at drumtalktvbrilliance.com, where we're having a fan Q&A with Foghat drummer Roger Earl on September 17th. So go to that site and check out the info on that. And yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. So without further delay, here's my other self. Hey everyone, so over on the YouTube channel Steven Shinder Reviews in video form, you can find a recent video I put up reviewing The Paper, the Office spin-off that just came out. And I also found out after the fact that apparently the actor who played Stanley tried to get a pilot off the ground for a spin-off called Uncle Stan a few years back, and that's just wild to me. I wonder if that's a thing over in the delayed replay universe. But anyway, so the non-spoiler review of The Paper season 1 is up. Overall, I thought it was fine. I gave it like a 7 out of 10. And while it does have room to grow, I do appreciate that it's not just a nostalgia fest for The Office. Oscar is the only returning regular, and there's also, at the beginning of the show, they explain some of the background with Dunder Mifflin, but it's pretty much a full extent. I really want to see where they take it for the next season. I'm also going to put up a video about Dexter Resurrection, so keep an eye out for that. But non-spoiler, just quick and short, I enjoyed the season. I do kind of wonder, though, if maybe it didn't feel as thrilling, or I didn't feel as much of a sense of danger for much of the season, so I don't know, but I do think it was a worthy follow-up to New Blood, with it being enjoyable. And yeah, so I'll talk more about that on the channel. It'll be a spoiler review though, so yeah. And I think I'd give this season maybe around an 8 out of 10. So yeah, and let's see, what else have I been watching? I've been keeping up with Alien Earth. So it's 6 episodes in, there are only 2 more left, and I feel like I'm not as captivated by the show as I thought I would be. There are other Noah Hawley shows like Legion and Fargo where I was really into what was going on. With Alien Earth, there are interesting themes with the synths and stuff, but it's synthetic life. I guess I should specify. Like I don't feel like it's quite captivating me as much as other alien stories. And yeah, I know that this show isn't just about the alien, but the pacing of it, it really does feel like stretching out an alien story across several episodes doesn't quite work for me. It doesn't feel as urgent or thrilling. Yeah, I don't know. But, two more episodes left. We'll see how it ends. Peacemaker season 2, I guess I'm liking it. Think it's 4 episodes in. The premise with the multiverse stuff was what made me more interested to check it out, even though I wasn't that big on season 1. And I, it's doing somewhat interesting stuff. I still feel like it's not like I'm not liking it as much as I was expecting to like it. It feels like there hasn't really been anything that big that has happened, and I'm really wondering what the point of the season overall will end up being. Like, I know there's been like speculation and stuff, which I'll leave to you if you like watch it, but yeah, I don't know. And would this show continue and get a season 3? I don't even know if I want a season 3 with how unsure I am about the show right now. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see. I did finally watch Knuckles recently over on Paramount Plus, and it's a fun show. I thought it was weird that the character what's his name? The character who Wade, that it feels like he gets more focus than Knuckles himself. So that's kind of a knockdown for it. I think maybe it's a 7 overall for me. I really like the music though, especially the opening theme song. South Park put out another episode recently. I think like a week and a half before this episode comes out, and it was about Labubu dolls, and it dropped in it quite a revelatory bombshell toward the end that plays into I guess the season-long arc, or whatever you want to call it, which relates to real-life events. But I was kind of surprised that, Butters is the main kid in the episode, and you never have him singing, "La boo boo, I got some apples. La boo boo, you got some too." Like that song he always sings, but plays La boo boo in the lyrics. Like, I was kind of surprised they didn't do that, but yeah, I'm really wondering what they're gonna do in the next episode, especially given some, recent real world events. It's like, I don't even know how you deal with all that. There's been so much upsetting things going on, but yeah, I'll just we'll see what happens in life, and I guess in TV as well. Now, as far as movies, I finally watched Jurassic World Rebirth, and I'll talk a little bit more about this movie at some point, but overall, I was surprised that I ended up enjoying it somewhat. Like, it had my attention throughout, but I feel like it could have gone further in being, a more thought-provoking movie. There's like a line of dialogue where one of the characters alludes to the idea that people can get a cure for something, but then they'll price it up so that only the rich can get it. Like, I feel like the movie should have leaned more into talking about healthcare affordability, but I guess people just really love the dinosaurs more than anything. And yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. I give it a 7 out of 10. And I also finally watched the Lilo and Stitch remake, and I was not happy with it. I could I could understand leaving out Gantu, uh, but making Jumba they got the voice wrong for Jumba. Zach Galifianakis was not the actor to go with for him, and just what they do with the character. I could understand the line of thinking of where they take the character, but in terms of the voice, that's where it loses me. It's just not right for Jumba. And for Pleakley, I really wish that apparently they tried, but they couldn't get Pleakley to be in drag like we're used to. So, and yeah, just overall, there are no visuals that really feel as compelling as the animated version. I was like working on stuff on my laptop while watching this movie, and whenever I was looking at my laptop and not at the TV screen, I never felt like I was truly missing out on any amazing visuals. So yeah, the Lilo and Stitch remake gets maybe a 4 out of 10 from me. I did not think it was good. And I watched a Michael Keaton movie from last year called Goodrich. That was an interesting character piece. Like, I give that one an 8. He was, playing someone trying to be a better father and husband. And yeah, so it's an interesting one. I don't know if everyone who listens to this podcast will be, like, interested in that, but it's on Max. It's easily viewable. And then I guess ending this with Miranda Cosgrove Netflix movie I saw this week called The Wrong Paris. And this was a rom-com, and I sometimes give rom-coms leeway because they're light fun, you kind of just need something easy to watch, but this one felt really annoying because it takes place in a reality show competition, and so you sometimes get that reality show style editing, and it was just really annoying, and the characters are annoying, and I give that one a 4 as well. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what the next movie I'll see will be. There have been a couple that I've been curious about, but I haven't felt as motivated to go out and see them. But so I don't know if I'll see anything this month, or even like, I don't even remember what's coming out in October, but November definitely Wicked for Good, and maybe another thing or two, so we'll see. And other than that, just been trying to trying to take it easy when I can, taking breaks from stuff by going to improv dropping classes. I even got to take part in a show at Lagoon Improv, so that was fun to be able to do that. And yeah, so I guess that's it for now. The podcast will be back in 2 weeks, with the next episode being about the version of Weapons that had a different cast, whereas in my universe the cast changed because of the Hollywood strikes causing some delays. That was something I found out very recently, but yeah, I think that's it for now, and without further delay, have a good day.